Um, Going back to Shadow Warrior, I'm curious, what would you say the biggest difference between this first Shadow Warrior and Hard Reset as a game from a design perspective or from any perspective at all is? What is the biggest difference between them?
Shadow Warrior is the first game that we had like not artificial enemies. They are not robots. They should behave more natural, even though they are demons. So they have to notice you, they have to run to you, they have to dodge your attacks, block your attacks. With Hard Reset it was only, you know, small robots and some bigger robots, and you had only the firearms. Here we had to design the whole melee combat. In Shadow Warrior you also have all those crazy powers that you can use. I haven't seen you using any of them. Do you have any bot?
I have this
healing.
one.
Okay.
I have healing, and I have the one where he puts his hand on the ground and launches a wave.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't buy a lot of powers. Like I usually, when I play a game that I don't know on live stream, I focus on buying as much defense and health.
Yeah. There are, like I told you before the stream, that you can play Shadow Warrior in two ways. First, a little bit more defensive, and the second one, this is my favorite one, that you put everything into offense, and then you are the hunter, not the hunted.
Yeah, I like the fact that, you know, if you look at this game just from the outside, it looks like a really simple first-person shooter that you can immediately, you know, say, oh yeah, you just run around and you shoot things. But then there's this entire sub-game, let's say, of skill trees and weapons and upgrades, and I think this adds a lot of variety and a lot of replay options.
Yeah, also you won't be able to collect everything in one run. After you finish the basic game, you can start a game plus, and then you keep all your upgrades that you previously had. So you are pretty powerful even at the beginning, and you keep all your weapons, and you can buy everything else that you didn't get in the first run.
Are you looking to add something like New Game Plus into the second game?
We always added like New Game Plus to our game, so I think that it will be there.
You said that you're looking at 2016 for Shadow Warrior 2?
Yep.
When did you start the development on Shadow Warrior 2?
Just after one.
So really that quickly you had immediately a set of ideas?
Part of the team was working on the console version, and some of the people were already thinking about what should be included into Shadow Warrior 2.
Now I'm curious, what out of that development for consoles, what changed? What did you learn from that that changed what you guys are doing for part 2?
I think that the controls probably there should be more. We will include a better control scheme for joypads for sure. And I don't think that really much changed with the console version. It's pretty much the same game.
You know what? I think that's something very rare. Usually games that are designed for PC, when they get to be on consoles, they usually end up simplified. Like to the point where they're not even in the same game anymore. So,
but, Vlad, we did it the other way. First we released for the PC, and then we released the console. And it's like if you have a game that is ready, you try not to change it, especially the gameplay. The experience should be always the same on each platform.
now, this game has a lot of supernatural elements, and from what you guys have shown from the second game, that will have a lot of supernatural elements and monsters and things like that. But I read something that there is also this new thing of a drug that's going around in Shadow Warrior 2 that is part of the story. If you can shed some more light on that, is it sort of a... there's this guy in the trailer that injects something in his neck and transforms into a monster. Is that the drug?
On this I won't comment, because we don't really share anything about the story.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's, you just announced the game.
Yep. And it's the first game announced so soon in our history. It's really something new for us.
So soon in the development, or so soon after the...
So soon in the development. Because Shadow Warrior 1 was shown first time only half a year before releasing.
Oh, so it was...
Yeah, the first Shadow Warrior took us 18 months to complete.
But you already, when you were showing it, you were already really secure. Like, this is the game. We're just making it. We're polishing it. We're making it as good as it can be. But this is the game. Yep. For Shadow Warrior 2, yeah, okay, you're still earlier in the development. Things may change.
But still, you have to admit that the game looks good.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this thing that it was in the gameplay demo as well, where the enemies now can interact with each other, and you can interact with them physically. You know, they split into more smaller enemies. They join together to form a bigger enemy. How can you tell us a little bit more about that? Is that part of the new melee mechanic?
It's like more part of the enemy design. I don't know if you saw those guys that are doing those capoeira stuff. They are pretty fast, and they have claws, and they will kick bombs on you if you are far away. We are going to introduce some really fun new enemies. Still can't spill any beans on this because it will ruin the surprise. But I hope you guys will be really happy when you see the final game.
So the environment that was shown in the E3 demo, it was very, I wouldn't say identical, but it was similar to the levels that I have seen so far, like in 3 hours, or out of this first Shadow Warrior. Are you planning to add any other sort of like winter, nature stuff, things, different design, different colors, different things?
Yep, but I...
Yeah, no,
really
just...
yeah, we will be surely adding something. There should be some more eye candy and some different things.
Okay, I didn't pay attention to what was being said right now, and I'm a little bit confused as to...
Get to the doll, and you should take the sword away from her.
Ah, okay, here we go.
Here we go.
And now people will see the first boss.
Easy now.
And after this boss fight, guys, we will be doing a giveaway. We have 5 copies of Shadow Warriors. Sorry. We have 5 copies of Shadow Warrior to give away. Artur here took care of that, and we got 5 copies to give away of this game. We will be doing a split giveaway. We will be giving away some copies now and some copies at the end of the live stream.
I thought the ancients were eternal. That I, like you, was beyond change.
I also like this animated, hand-drawn, let's say, cutscenes.
And you looked for pity in my eyes.
These feel like sort of a, if you know the design of a motion comic.
Mm-hmm.
I really like these. These add a lot of atmosphere.
That memory has
I think these add more atmosphere than doing CGI, full 3D cutscenes and things like that.
From what I remember, these guys who did those comic books for us also did the intro, the drone intro for Witcher 3.
Whoa, nice.
Sister. I did not foresee
Oh,
his
Poland, a real brotherhood of game development.
his poison cup. I saw you a second time, though not the way I would have liked.
It's interesting that you have this game that is so
And with you,
all-out action, explosions, guns, fights, powers, demons, and then you have a story that is actually, I wouldn't say necessarily, ultra complex and deep, but it's more interesting than just shoot the enemies.
After Hard Reset, it was loads of people complaining about the lack of story, the lack of something that would push you further. So we decided that we need to have a good story in Shadow Warrior.
Now, going back a little bit to Hard Reset, you always had this thing, even with Hard Reset, where you guys did these really cool weapons. Like, I like the fact that in Hard Reset, if I remember correctly, you essentially have maybe 2 weapons that modified and are moddable and change their functionality.
Yeah, they morph into the...
Yeah, they morph.
There are 2 basic weapons, and each of them has 5 different shooting modes. So, and each shooting mode has a different secondary attack. So it's like you can freeze enemies, you can stun them, you can explode the rocket in midair, do different crazy stuff.
So, how hard is it for you guys to keep coming up with these sorts of ideas?
I think that really we've got so many talented and creative people at the office that
Crap. Is this...
everybody has some great ideas that they want to put into the game. So I think that's not a problem.
How did we get
We are
here?
really creative.
Yeah, because I mean, Hard Reset, I played a little bit of it, and it was this. The funny thing about Hard Reset is it starts, the game starts, and I'm playing it, and I'm having fun, and I'm thinking, this is easy. 5 minutes later, I'm surrounded by enemies. I'm out of every single type of ammo, and not easy anymore.
I understand. You're confused.
I have to say,
I could give a shit how it happened.
you guys came, for me at least, you guys kind of came out of nowhere, and you brought some much needed lifeblood into the first-person shooter genre.
Like a big part of our team when we were developing Hard Reset was the original developers behind Painkiller.
Yeah, well, so you
We
guys
had
have history.
we had the lead designer Michał Sadowski. We had Claudio Zech, who was writing the engine. Was really lots of people, graphic artists, 3D artists.
And I think it's, I mean, do you have this sort of, what, some of the things that I read about big name developers, like big companies with 200, 300 employees. For example, one of the rumors is that one of the big games that came out recently, and I won't name it to avoid any sort of conflict, they actually they removed the story from the game on purpose because the guys who wrote something really complex, and they didn't have enough time to implement it before launch, which tells me that so we walked between the boss's legs, which tells me that the teams themselves weren't really working together. I mean, it's nice that you guys worked so closely together in all of the departments.
Yeah, I think we know each other so long. Everybody likes each other. It's really Flying Wild Hog is like one big family.
That's Gozu? In his memory, he was smaller.
Oh yeah.
Get that off him, and it's really quite puny.
Okay, get the armor off the boss.
Yep, shoot the glowy stuff.
Um,
And on the outside of the arena, you've got pickups, so you can replenish your ammo.
Yeah, thank you. Now, speaking of boss fights, I don't want specifics, but will you have boss fights in the Shadow Warrior 2?
Currently, I can't tell you anything about this.
But okay, so if what you showed in the demo is that because the levels are so open, players who play in co-op can actually go in separate directions and do different things.
Yep.
Do you have the sort of system that adapts the number of enemies on the map to the number of players?
Yeah, I think also the difficulty will be like if you get 4 players on one map, the enemy should be a little bit tougher. Because if you get 4 people with katanas or those ninja blades or double katanas or double Uzis shooting at one enemy, it will end really fast. And this will be managed.
That's nice to hear because you know, usually there are games that when you go and you add co-op elements, they usually forget to adjust the difficulty, or they do it the other way where the game is impossible to play.
I shouldn't be worried about this. I think that we will manage it.
Did you guys change a lot of things regarding the engine for... I mean, I saw some really complex and beautifully done animations. I don't know if you... it's never been made public what version of the engine is currently being used. Like, let's say Hard Reset was version 1, Shadow Warrior was version 2, Shadow Warrior 2, is it that version 3?
In-house we call it Roadhog 2.0.
Oh, so it's only version 2.0.
Yes.
Wow, you guys, when you get to version 5. Now,
and also, as for the engine, we added physically based rendering, so the light should look a little bit more realistic, the metal should look a little bit more realistic. There are all sorts of improvements, like I told you that the enemies will be now able to follow you to any height you are on, so they will be able to follow you to jump after you to a ledge or to a rooftop. They will, as you mentioned, the animations, we have our friends from Mocap.pl are helping us with the animations.
So you guys are using mocap for the animation?
Yes.
You know,
at least for the humanoids, because you can't mocap a demon with 6 legs or
yeah, but come on, it's like a really impressive thing from where I stand, because essentially that's using mocap for an enemy, for like an enemy that will spawn in large numbers on the map. So that's a lot of attention to detail there, in my opinion.
If you saw those guys, those capoeira guys, in the E3 presentation, they are mock-ups.
Did you find someone in Poland who can do capoeira?
Yes, we've got loads of actors. I think that when you see some of the enemies, you will be really, really happy with what we will show. I can't spoil you now, but I saw some things that are really whoa. Just whoa, seriously guys, we are doing this?